Hey guys! Taking a quick break, but not really break, from doing the Inktober videos. There will be one later today, but I just wanted to kind of sit down, put on some nice music, and talk you guys through this watercolor postcard I did a few weeks ago. So I'm using one of the photographs that my boyfriend took in Hawaii as reference. So I'm starting off just by sketching in the big shapes and then putting in the larger details like the trees and such. So I'm just going in with a mechanical pencil because I find that can just be cleaner. And just setting the framework for my painting. And you'll notice I taped the edges, and that's just so everything stays within frame and everything ends up clean at the end. So now my sketch is finished and I'm about ready to start painting here. So first I put down just some clean water where my sky is going to be, and then I slowly start applying blue. Not uniformly, just kind of wherever, adding it darker in certain spots and lighter in other areas. And then I start painting the ocean, and really the sky, you'll notice that was a wash, but then the ocean I'm just going straight in with my blue paint, leaving some stuff white just for the reflection of the sky and the sun and all that on there. Noodling in with the sky again, being careful to leave certain areas white that I'll be painting in later. And then I'm doing the same thing for the sidewalk here, just putting in some clear water and then applying some brown paint on there, just as my first wash, just layering it in, getting it to a color that I like. Hope you guys are having a good Monday so far. I had a pretty good week last week, so I'm just hoping to carry that into this week. So you'll see I'm doing the same thing again for the road. This time I'm using like a combination of, I think, the dark blue, maybe a little bit of brown, and then I add in some purple. And again, this is all put everything down on water first and then just adding wet paint on top of wet paint. So that's like a wet on wet technique there. I'm just coloring in the road. I know the road isn't exactly like blue or purple, but I like to have a more, I don't know if painterly is the right word, but I don't want the road to just be black, so that's why I kind of made that color instead. It kind of gets the point across. Then noodling in for the grass, starting with brown and then adding on the green grass while the paint is still wet. So again, more wet on wet technique. Just because when you do that, the paint kind of flows and does its own thing and creates some really cool textures and such going on. So here, adding in some lighter green mixed with yellow. I don't know the technical paint colors, I'm just kind of describing them. And then while I'm waiting for that to dry, I started detailing in the fence, I think, on the other side. And then here I'm going in with more grass, leaves, shrubbery. This time the paint has dried and the pigment is going on stronger, so I'm just building on top of that previous wash, putting in a little bit of shadow, a little bit of detailing, using some of that leftover color to transfer over onto the other side, and a bit of grass. Just now I'm starting to like build up on the details and such. So here I'm delineating where the sidewalk is, kind of where the shadows are. Adding some extra detail on the road. I'm working on the trees, and these trees had white flowers in them. So in order to keep that white in, because I didn't want to go in later with a white gouache or anything, I kind of used some loose brushwork and skirted around them, and then preserving the white of the paper for the flowers. So I'm using some darker green and then later some green and some blue for a darker color for the bottom, which is what I'm doing here. trying to stay away from using too much black. So just moving in. I think I colored in the top part a little too dark, so I'm just darkening up the bottom. Adding some more. And then filling in the in-between area with some more green, going in with some green and yellow. Just trying to make it pop. And then here I'm adding in, the rest of the indication of the road, and then painting on top of the road, just a darker color, trying to show, the parts of the road that have been more heavily worn, and then going in with the sidewalk again, and then here I'm adding a little bit of water to the edges of there just to blend them out so it's not so sharp. Painting in that little yield sign. Then going in with the pole. It looks gray, but I believe the color combo was like the leftover paint from the road with a little bit of brown. Then going in with the roof, just some blue, some dusky colors, laying in the base, leaving in some white for the windows. And then putting in the house behind. So now I'm just kind of filling in the remaining details. And this stuff in the background won't be too super detailed because it is in the background, so I just want to keep it blurry, keep that sense of depth present, and not put too much focus on that stuff. Because if everything is in focus, it'll flatten the image out. Just adding some more detail. Trying to fill in all the white outline spaces, which I'm noticing. Then painting little islands in the background, just with a base. And then adding in some darker color. So with watercolor, you really have to layer it. Because everyone says, it'll dry lighter than you actually put it in. So just going in and putting in those extra little details to make it pop. Putting in shadows. I used a dark blue for the shadows. Because, shadows generally tend to be cool colors, and I just like how it looks. Although with that pole, I think I went in too dark. Adding in shadows in the house and the roof. Trying to blend it in a little bit so it doesn't look so, stark. Adding a little bit more color to that island in the background. And then just going in and cleaning up with some detail work now. Going in with the tree. Now I'm adding in telephone poles, which I didn't use my ink pens. I went in with a brush very carefully. I started with the one in the front first because I knew I would have more paint so it would appear darker. Then I added the ones in the background later. And again, I'm not really using black, I'm using a combination of my darkest paints. Just adding some extra speckles. Nothing wrong with some extra speckles. Trying to delineate where the edge of those roofs are. And then finally we come in with the ink pen once the paint has dried to put in our telephone wires. So nothing quite pulls together an urban or residential scene more than telephone wires. It's just a great graphic element. So it's pretty much a finished piece. Last but certainly not least is peeling off the tape, which is so satisfying to do. Now you can see those nice, clean, crisp edges, and we have the final piece here. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching, hope you enjoyed listening. Thanks for watching. If you like, give it a like or a comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks, bye.